To answer these questions, you have to work out a code. In the boxes on the left are shapes and the code letters that go with them. The top letters mean something different to the bottom ones. You must decide how the letters go with the shapes. Then find the correct code for the test shape from the set of 5 codes on the right and mark its letter on your answer sheet. The examples below have been done for you and the answers marked on the answer sheets. In the example above, both squares here have a Y at the top, but the circle has an X. So the top code must be for shape. Both white shapes have an S at the bottom, but the shaded shape has a T. So the bottom code must be for shading. The test shape is a shaded circle to its code letters. Must be X for code circle and T for shading, and B has been marked on the answer sheet. Okay, so this is another example of this kind of questions you will have in your exam for the nonverbal reasoning. The 4 tips, like I told you earlier, are: number 1, read the instruction. Number 2 is one element at a time. Number 3 is using a combination of snaps, which is shape, number, angle, position, size, and shade. Number 4 is the process of elimination. So those are the 4 tips. Now we will look at this kind of questions. These are what you call coded shapes, meaning the letters represent any of those 6 elements. So always look at the top letters, and look at the bottom letters. So the top letters L, M, L, and the bottom letters X, Y, Z is different combinations for different questions. You ask yourself, what is common between this L here and this L here that makes this shape to be coded as L and this shape to be coded as L on this side? So what I mean to, in summary, the top, you look at the top, what is common in the top and what is common in the bottom letters. So the top letters might mean any of those 6 elements we talked about in snaps, and the bottom letters might mean any of the elements we've talked about in snaps. So let's see, between these two you look for the common. Number 1, look for the common letters. So L here, L here, L in the first, L in the third. That means what is common between this and this. Let's look at it. We've got a square and a circle. We've got a square and a circle. It's hard to determine what it is. Is it the shape? Is it the number of shapes? Is it the angle? Is it the position? Is it the size? Is it the shade? That does not come up straight to me what it is, but what I will do instead is to look at the bottom letter. So when I look at the bottom letter, I can see this is X, Y, and Z, meaning there's something that is different for all of them. And for all of them, I will say is the positioning of of the shapes. This is one out, another one out. These ones are this is the two of them are out separate. These are intersected, and this one is inside the other. So XYZ. Now I look at my shape here, the question I'm trying to answer. This is intercepted. So intersected like that, meaning the bottom one should be Y. So I will eliminate the ones that are not Y at the bottom. So I'm left with C or E. Okay. So that makes me go back to my shapes here. I'm looking for either L or M. What should it be? Should it be L? Should it be M? And I can see straight away also that this shape is smaller. So it cannot be M because this shape is smaller. So the size, I think is the size that determines, yes, the size of the circle determines. So we've said the bottom one, the bottom letters are the position, the position, that's the P, while the top letters are the size. So the top letters are the size, and the same size with this here is the L. So I will say LY is the answer, and that cancels that. So the answer is C. Now let's look at the second one. Remember what to ask yourself: what does the top represent? What does the bottom represent? So the top letters, there, and there, what do they represent? There, and there, what do they represent? So when you find out what they represent, look at the common ones. So between looking at the top one, D here, D here, that means there's something common between this first shape and this second shape. And the only thing I can see is the shape itself. So that should be the shape. So the top is the shape, and the bottom, the common ones are this and this. So what can we say is common between these two? That should be the shading. So I'll say the shade. You can see we're using our 6 elements in different ways. So here is the shape at the top and shade at the bottom. So looking at our question now, this shape, if this shape is the house turned upright, we can say the opposite, which is E, should be what goes with this. So the shape, this is the shape that goes with this, and that means the top will be E. So this is left for me to cancel out, eliminate whatever is not E at the top. I'm left with either C or E. Okay, so I'll go back to the second letter. That's the shade. So I can see that the shade M is when it's divided into two. One side is dark and the other is light. One side is colored, the other is not colored, or one side is shaded, the other is not shaded. So M is for shaded and not shaded, but we can see from our question here that this is not shaded at all. That means it's going to be an L. So where do I have L at the bottom? It is E. I have L at the bottom here, so this is eliminated. And that goes to show to me that the answer is E. Okay, do we do one more? Let's do one more. I move on to, or actually we could do 2 more because this kind of looks a bit tricky. There are more instructions to follow here, more steps to follow in this one. So the first thing I said you do with this, apart from the 4 tips, you add one more tip. That is, look at what the top letters represent and what the bottom letters represent. So I will go on to say number 63 here. I will say let's look at the top one. So for the top letters we can see a common one. What is common between them? That is, this and this are common for a reason. I will say these two are common just because of the position. So I would say it's vertical position. It goes upwards, so it goes from top to bottom. That's vertical position. So that's the position. It's vertical. And the bottom one, they're all different. P, Q, R. So why is P different from Q, different from R? Because the shapes, so we can say the shapes are different. So we have P, Q, R, a triangle, a 5-sided shape, and a rectangle. So the bottom one is for the shapes. So which one looks like it? From the top we say vertically. Yeah, it is vertical, because when it's vertical it is top to bottom. When it's horizontal it will be D, which is that way. But the question we have is for vertical, so that means it's going to be C. I expect to see C at the top. Now I'll cancel out, eliminate whatever is not C at the top. Then the bottom one. The bottom one is the shape. So what shape is there? The shape is not a P for triangle, is not R for rectangle, but we can see is a Q for the 5-sided shape. So I'll say it's a Q. Which one is a Q? It is this one, so that cancels that out. And then number 64. 64 is, we'll say the same thing. What can you say about the top letter? What can you say about the bottom letter? We look at what is common between this and this. C. What does C represent? So C represents between these two, even though this is shaded, this is not shaded, we can't say it's the shading, but we can say it's the size of the shape, the size. So the circle as big as that is for C, while a smaller circle is for D. And then the bottom one represents, let's see, RST. That means they're all different. I will say what makes them all different is the number of shapes. So I'll say number is the element here. The number of shapes. There are 2 in here, 1 in here, 3 in here. That's why they all have different at the bottom. So let's look at our example. At the top, I expect to see size, this kind of size for D. So I expect to see D here. I'll eliminate everything that is not D. And then for the bottom, which is the number of shapes inside, I have just one. The one with just one inside is S. So that means S, the one with an S, DS is my answer. This is eliminated. So the answer is E. I hope you understand that. Let's look at some examples for you to do. Can you do these ones? Okay, so For this one's number 66, make sure you pause your video. Make sure you pause your video 66, 67, and 68 and tell me what your answer is.
Well, because Daddy said we have to leave it on. I don't want it on.
Alright, so in this situation, remember all the tips for solving a nonverbal reasoning question. Make sure you read the instruction, make sure you choose one element at a time, make sure you use your snaps, the 6 elements of snaps, and make sure you use the process of elimination. Also, in the coded shape questions, you also need to know what the top letters represent and what the bottom letters represent. Choose the common ones and you can go on from there. So when you choose a common element between between two squares of shapes, for example between this and this, if you choose what is common between this shape here and this shape here, then you're able to know what each letter represents. Okay, so I can reveal to you that the answer for number 66 is D, and 67 is E, and 68 is A. So I'll leave you with some questions to work out. Get the answer. Eliminate. Okay, there you go. So eliminate so you can get the answer. And yep, remember, what does the first letter represent? What does the second letter represent? What does the third letter represent? Find the common ground between the letters and the shapes, and it will give you a clue. Now I can reveal the answer. I will say, I can tell you that number 66 is B, 67 is E, 68 is C. Alright, so make sure you do the remaining exercises. If practice, practice, and practice, that's what makes you better at nonverbal. Thank you for taking time to watch these videos. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below if you like the videos we have for you today. Remember to always come on here to check for more of our beautiful videos, educational videos, inspiring videos. Thank you. Bye-bye.